Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jessica Morehouse and I have been, a few weeks off from this channel. I am so sorry. I've been trying my best. I mean, not really. I was a good consistent weekly video for a good 2 months, but life gets in the way, but for good reason. As I've been sharing on the community page of this channel, updating you what I've been doing. And part of what I've been doing is studying for more exams on my slow journey to become a CFP. Now, in case you don't know, I'm working towards becoming a certified financial planner because I just love to learn and I want to be a better financial content creator and educator. I've actually been really loving the experience. I mean, it's been very stressful and the imposter syndrome comes out and you feel like an idiot. And then you feel also amazing once you actually pass the exams. And so I have a bunch of videos that go through all the, exams I've done thus far. I'm going through the Canadian Securities Institute path to the CFP. So I did the Canadian Securities course. That's 2 exams, FP1, FP2, and now I'm down to the supplemental courses. In order to be eligible to take the CFP program and then take the exam, you have to do 2 supplemental courses. One is Lending, Retirement, and Insurance Supplement, LRIS, and I just passed that, so that's what this video is going to be about. I also did this other requirement. It's an ethics course. It's called Introduction to Professional Ethics through FB Canada. I also finished that, so I'm going to talk about that. And lastly, the remaining supplemental course that I need to do is called the Law, Estate, and Tax Supplement. So exciting. That is the last thing I need to do, and I will make a final video on that before then I start doing the really hard work of actually becoming a CFP. So in case you are also doing the LRIS through the CSI, I'm probably the only person that has ever made a video about it, but I wanted to share my experience. Obviously not going to tell you what's on the exam, but just share some kind of tips and tricks to help you pass the exam, because I was able to study basically in the window of 1 week and pass the exam. And same with the ethics course. Took 2 hours and then I passed. It's very easy, honestly. It's a joke. So first things first, my first tip is with these supplemental courses, unfortunately, they do not give you paper textbooks like all the other courses. And so they just give you this PDF. And I don't know about you, I got really used to paper textbooks, highlighting, writing notes, things like that. I like a textbook. And also sometimes I refer back to those textbooks years later. It's a good document. And so I spent a little money and went to Staples and got it printed in my own little textbook. Now, you don't necessarily have to do this. If a PDF is good for you, you do you. But for me, it was definitely worth the cost. I found it a lot easier to retain the information and just do the same kind of study flow that I had previously. So that might be something that you want to do. I didn't actually do any of there were end of chapter exams, and I kind of ran out of time and didn't do them. And also for a long time, I did not know where to find them in the CSI's student portal. It is not in a very clear place. So I actually had to talk to support to be like, where are they? Do they exist? Do I not have them? Then I eventually found them, and then I just didn't care. I'm like, you know what? I don't care. I'm just going to take the exam anyway and see how it goes. So I don't really have any comments on those, but I can go through some of the things that are in the course that you should really, really focus on when you're studying. So first thing that you should know is it says on the website, it'll take you between 30 and 40 hours of study time. I say that's probably pretty accurate. Yeah, when I look back at just how long it takes you to read and then really digest what you're reading and highlight and making some notes and going over things, I'd say 30 to 40 hours is probably a pretty good estimate, but I did it in a good 7 days from start to exam day, and I really just broke it into chapters. So what's great about this compared to especially FP2, if you just finished that like I did back in the fall, there's only 11 chapters. Only 11 chapters, and most of them are actually, they're very similar to what you've already gone through. They just go more in depth, but I actually really enjoyed the content of this. I'm glad that I actually had to do the supplement. There's a lot more details and it went more in depth on certain topics, but with that, just with my study schedule, so there's 11 chapters and I tried to do basically 2 chapters or sometimes 3 every day. And then by day 7, I was kind of ready to go. So I feel like that's always kind of helpful, is to chunkify it into chapters. With that said, it's like 200 pages. So if you're a slow reader, it may take you longer. So in terms of exam weightings, I would also say after taking the exam and looking at the weightings again, pretty accurate what it has on the website. It says 25% weighting for loans and mortgages, 20% for insurance and risk management, 10% for family and business law, 45% for retirement planning. And I really did spend most of my time really memorizing all the information in the retirement planning sections. And yeah, that was predominantly, like it says 45%. Yeah, I felt like half of the exam was retirement planning. So make sure you focus on that. I feel like it won't be as difficult as you think because you've already gone through FP1, FP2. It really is a lot of info about pensions, but man, after the fact, you're gonna know so much about pensions. Things that I remember from the exam, there were quite a few questions I feel like about, pensions, OAS, CPP, and some of the little details about that. And that is honestly what I almost tripped up on when I was taking the exam. Sometimes they'd ask you a question, you're like, oh, I know the answer. But then you have to really spend some time reading the question to be like, what are they actually asking? And sometimes it is a crazy detail that they're looking for. And there were a few times where I'm like, oh gosh, what was that? And you're just doing process of elimination, quite honestly. Make sure to not just, when you're studying, think about the bigger picture or like the big message that you think that's important. Sometimes they're going to ask you a question about a very specific detail, such as, what's this tax form, or what is the acronym, or what happens in this situation if there's a breakdown of a marriage or something like that. I found if there is a particular detail that you're like, ooh, that sounds sort of important, I'm not going to glaze over it. Don't glaze over it. Make a note card, try to remember it, because likely it will be on the exam. That is going to be how they trip you up. Now, another thing that you should also take note of is, even though there's a lot less content in this course, again, there's only 11 chapters, how it compares to FP2 especially is you do have 60 questions. So that's just this exact same. They both have 60 questions on the exam. You get half the time. So for FP2, you get 60 questions, you get 3 hours. For this exam, you have 60 questions and an hour and a half. So you have less than 2 minutes per question. So remember all the skills that you've learned from all those exams. Anything that you don't immediately know, it hasn't come to the surface, just, bypass them to go back to them later. Focus on the questions that you know, and then go back to those other ones. Because there were a lot of things you're like, you get into your mind, right? You just like, I don't know, I forgot everything that I just studied. Just don't touch those questions, go back to them later. And then I found as I was then got more comfortable and going through the exam, the answers for some of those questions would pop back into my mind. The other good thing with this exam is there was not one question that I needed a calculator. There were no math equations you had to memorize. There was nothing like that. It really was just, do you recall this information from the textbook that was about, honestly, travel insurance or retirement pensions and things like that. So you don't have to memorize any formulas. There were a few chapters where they had some mathy math, but you do not have to memorize any of that. So that's really all I have to say, I'd say, about LRIS. But if you have some specific questions, let me know in the comments. It's really something that you shouldn't stress over, especially after completing all those other exams. This will be a nice little walk in the park for you. And similarly, same with FP Canada's Introduction to Professional Ethics. It's a requirement, but it is, they said it was like, oh, it's gonna be like a 2-hour course. I was expecting like a 2-hour webinar or something like that. No, it was basically just this website with text that you have to read, and it was nothing crazy. It really was like, oh, that's it. I don't know. I thought it'd be more substantial. I was a bit upset that I'm like, oh, I thought it would at least be like video presentation or something like that. No, it was just some text that you have to read. And it'll maybe take you about 2 hours to get through all of the information and remember the things that you need to, remind yourself of. And then the exam really is just like a quiz. It's like 15 questions. It will take you maybe 15 minutes. You have to get, I think 60%, but if you fail, you can retake it. And I think from what it says on the website, there's unlimited retakes of the exam because it's a requirement. You have to take it. So that again is like, if you finish LRIS and you just want to get this off your plate, or if you, are going to just move on to the QAFP, then it will be very, very easy to do. You can like literally, I did it just on my laptop on the couch at night one night. So what's next for me is, of course, just taking that final supplement course, Law, Estate, and Tax supplement. And yes, I also got that printed. It's even easier. It is only 7 chapters, but I will say the chapters are a lot meatier. Like some of the chapters in LRIS were like 15 pages or 20 pages. Lots of these, I mean, like the final one is like what, 30-ish pages? They're a little bit more meaty, but I think in general, this is maybe only 100 pages. So I just need to kind of find another week where I'm not too busy and I could just like read it, get it done, get it off my plate. And then once I finish that, then, I have some really important decisions to make. Now, obviously, I have kind of told everyone and put it out into the universe to keep myself accountable. I'm going to do the CFP. But the CFP also terrifies me because it is no joke. Like the program itself of doing like the case study work and all that kind of stuff that you have to do beforehand, I'm not too intimidated by that. I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. It's the actual exam that looks terrifying. Like I believe it's 6 hours, if not longer, and just really freaking hard. Like I sometimes, I don't know why, go on Reddit to see, what were the results, people chatting about what their experience was like, and it just doesn't look like, it's just people just saying how brutal it was, and I'm really not looking forward to it. So one thing I have been considering, I could just go for the QAFP, have that in my back pocket, and then eventually bridge over to the CFP. That is one of the paths that you can take. Because even still, like for the QAFP, like I wouldn't just be like, great, I'm going to go take the exam, and then you can always do the case study program after, or you can do it before, whatever you want. But again, with the bridge program, I think there's a couple different routes you can take. I haven't looked into it too hard, but yeah, I'm still kind of unsure if I should just start with the QAFP, bridge over to the CFP, or just do the CFP and just get over my fear. I don't know. I haven't made a decision. If you have any comments or thoughts, let me know. So that's really it for me. I just wanted to give a quick update about what I've been up to, and if you are studying and like these videos, because I know a lot of you are like, oh great, there's a video, no one else is talking about this. I'm always happy to chat because honestly, I get it. It sometimes feels kind of lonely. I don't know anyone else in my circle that is doing these exams, so happy to chat about this. But yeah, that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.